What's going on, fellow YouTube citizens, my subscribers, and my friends, and etc. And what's going on, HI Scarf 12? Watching your videos, how you coming into more and more truth, and how you was offering an apology, which you really, don't have to, but I know you did that from the heart on behalf of your ancestors. Even though it was part of prophecy for it to happen anyways. Because, when I first started on my journey, I was just like you. I questioned a lot of things, and I still do. And I was, just went to God in prayer, Father, what happened? Why this happened to my ancestors? Why us, out of all the people, being enslaved? Why did this happen? And, I kid you not, H.I. Scarf, I just flipped through the Bible, just randomly looking for some answers, and he led me to a lot of different chapters and a lot of truths about what happened, like Isaiah 18, 19, and 20. That talks about the fall of Cush in Africa. Isaiah 20, think verses 3 and 4, talk about Egypt and Cush, or Egypt and Africa combined together. Think Isaiah chapter 45, verse 8 or 9, around somewhere, where he was showing me. Zechariah, think chapter 11. I mean, just a whole lot of different stuff I was getting led to. But seeing that, you starting to come into more and more history and get a little closer here. But I wanted to share like some more with you. I'm sure you're already familiar, of course, with a lot of Roman Catholic history, the whole trend of how it started with Paul in Tarsus, all the way up over here. How Paul, he got beheaded, and Constantine, well, after Paul got beheaded, Christianity was real popular. It was forbidden in Rome when Constantine was the next king or the next Caesar in Rome, because Caesar was like another word for president. And of course, Constantine looked at it as an opportunity to glorify himself, so he allowed Christianity to be born. Thus, the Roman Empire was born. And of course, when the Roman Empire was born off the Roman Catholic Church, Catholicism, they tried to make it a one world thing where the entire world was Catholic. So that's where the Crusades got involved. Of course, over in the eastern part, you had the Arabs, thinking the same thing as far as trying to make Islam a one world religion. So of course, that's where the Crusades came about. And the Arabs invaded East Africa. They was trying to conquer Africa and make mostly all Arab or all Africa Muslim, which our ancestors, the Israelites, at the time after Jerusalem got invaded by the Romans. And when Jerusalem got destroyed and they fled into Africa trying to hide out, the Arabs had their one world religion, that world domination, trying to take over Africa, while the Romans was trying to invade and take over Africa as well. And the majority of the Romans was Christians or Catholics, and they was called Templars, the original Roman soldiers. First they had the eagle on their shield, then they had this huge cross on their chest and on their shields, the Templars. So they was trying to have world domination. And yeah, it's a long story, so I'm gonna leave that alone. But anywho, what I really wanted to share with you about was, you was talking about you was saying, explain it in how some brother said, the white man came in this, the white man came in it, which is true, but I received revelation on why that happened. Like, why did they come over and take the little boys and the women? Because a lot of the pictures that a lot of brothers and sisters have on their videos on here, they show the picture of the children on the ship and the women, just boys and children. I'm like, why did they do that? But I noticed the revelation that I came unto was our ancestors did the same thing to the so-called whites first, which originally called Edomites. Our ancestors did it to them first. And I'm finna show you that scripture. And the first one I'm gonna read is 1 Kings. Is 1 Kings 11, chapter 11, verse 14. It says, so the Lord raised up an adversary against Solomon, the Edomite Hadad, who was of the royal family of Edom. And of course, Edomites came from Esau. When David was in Edom, Joab, the army commander, went up to bury the slain, and he killed every man in Edom. For Joab and all Israel stayed there for 6 months, until he had killed off every male in Edom. But Hadad, together with some Edomite men, servants of his father, escaped and headed for Egypt. Hadad then was a young boy. So here the Israelites, our ancestors, when they conquered people, when they went over and conquered the land, they kill off all the males and of course take the women for themselves. So when they take the women for themselves, of course they mate with them. They do as they please. Look at them as a sexual fantasy toy. And of course they, the young boys, they caused them to be their slaves. Now let me show you in reference to that, because I was like, wow, so that's where they get that from, where they took the children over there, the little boys and the women, because our ancestors did it first. So it was only a plot of revenge, and that's why a lot of white men were so sensitive to blacks messing with white women, because of what happened in past times. And I'm like, wow, okay, they gave me that revelation. But Numbers chapter 31 verse 7. Here it is again, talking about the Israelites going against the Midianites. Said they fought against Midian as the Lord commanded Moses, and killed every man. Among their victims were Evi, Rechem, Shur, Hur, and Reba, the 5 kings of Midian. They also killed Balaam, son of Beor, with the sword. The Israelites captured the Midianite women and children, and took all the Midianite herds, flocks, and goods as plunder. The Israelites captured the Midianite women and children, and took all the Midianite herds, flocks, and right here. See, once again they doing the same thing. In 1 Kings chapter 11 verse 14, this during the time with Solomon and David, or with David, when he was king first, and what he was doing over in Edom. And he killed off all the males, took all the women. Matter of fact, before I read further in Numbers chapter 31 and skip down to 15, I'm going to read in 1 Kings about Solomon doing the same thing as his dad. It's a King Solomon, this chapter, 1 Kings chapter 11 verse 1. King Solomon loved many foreign women in addition to Pharaoh's daughter, Moabite, Ammonite, Edomite. There it is again. Solomon had some white women that he was fascinated with. Edomite, Phoenician, and Hittite women. So right here, Solomon had Edomites, white women he was messing with. And David, of course, went over in the land of the whites, or originally called Edomites, and slaughtered all the white men, or Edomite men, and took all the women. And of course, I'm sure they had what people normally do when they conquer and invade a land, what they do with the women. Look at them as a sex toy. Back to Numbers 31 and 15. It say, have you allowed all the women to live? He asked them. They were the ones who followed Balaam's advice, and were the means of turning the Israelites away from the Lord, and what happened at Peor, so that a plague struck the Lord's people. Now kill all the boys, and kill every woman who has slept with a man, but save for yourselves every girl who has never slept with a man. Save for yourselves every girl who has never slept with a man. Now who is saying this stuff? Let's rewind all the way back to 31 and 1. The Lord said to Moses, take vengeance on the Midianites for the Israelites. After that you will be gathered to your people. So here, just giving you the brief history. I've been meaning want to respond to your video and share this as far as like why did that happen, the revelation. And of course I've been finally got around to it, but yeah, this is why it happened, because our ancestors did it to your ancestors first, and actually they came back around, and that's where the Father made the head the tail. He said I should make the head the tail and the tail the head. The Israelites were the tail, and now he made you all the head, part of